What is a 73 Carrera RS? RS is Rennsport, so the sort of the heightened performance model, if you will. Porsche was moving out of and away from its 917 program. They were looking at Group 4, and unlike the 917, where you homologate the prototype with a very limited production, maybe 20 or 25 units, Group 4 was homologated with 500 units. So from a homologation sort of prototype of the RS, they created two different types of RSs. One was a touring with a lot of the niceties and amenities of a 911S, and the other was a lightweight, which was very racing oriented. And all of this was to homologate the 2.8 RSR that was going to be competing in Group 4. So marketing gets convinced, okay, we're going to do 500 of these. And that first 500 is called the first series. Series 2 ends at 1,000. Those were the two series where they were weighing every single car that came across the production line to make sure that the homologation run was fulfilled. Once they got to Series 3, things changed a bit. They started to run out of parts. So they had only built so many thin steel fenders. Some were around 1,100 cars built. They just started running out of parts. And so they just would put on a normal old 911 fender. So you see the weight of those cars, if you were to weigh those and it was completely original, unrestored, you'll see the weight of the car begin to go up. So this particular car is owned by a client of AtSpeed's. It is serial number 232, so it's in the first series. It was born as a touring car in Switzerland. In about 1983, I believe, it was imported into the United States. And in 1984 or so, a restoration began on the car. It had all of its original lightweight steel, thin steel body panels, which is incredibly unusual. And so it had everything original. It was a numbers matching car, of course, no rust. And Jim Newton, up in Connecticut, decided he was going to restore the car. It was his personal car. And he decided at the time, I want to convert it to lightweight configuration. So in the early mid-'80s, this car was probably worth $50,000 to $60,000. Why not restore it to one of the 200 lightweights? And in fact, Jim was well connected, and so all of the original parts to turn the car into a true lightweight were available. Back then, there was sort of the most coveted prize of PCA Concours, and that was called the Manhattan Trophy. The Manhattan Trophy itself is actually sitting behind me. And so Jim won in 1986 the Manhattan Trophy, the coveted trophy in Porsche Club National Parade. This car, believe it or not, has essentially stayed exactly the same since it was restored in 1985, 1984. Let's meet number 232 and talk about what makes this special and different. Outside of a Carrera RS, obviously you can see lots of things that set you up. This is a different special car. And as I said, this is what's called a lightweight version. So what Porsche did is they even tried to save more weight. So we have, from all the Carrera RSs, the lightweight metal here, the lightweight metal here, the lightweight metal here, and the lightweight metal here. Now Porsche said, all right, we're going to make the lightweight even lighter. So they got rid of the trim up front and replaced it with just a piece of vinyl. They got rid of the crest and replaced it with a piece of vinyl. We have all of the trim along the side that's gone, not replaced with anything. We've got the classic 1972, 1973 left-only mirror, except in Japan where they actually had two. Stepping back into number 232, with the lightweights, they got rid of the metal bumper here and replaced it with fiberglass. They got rid of the rest of the bumper here, replaced it with a fiberglass panel. Porsche went so far as to get rid of the latch for the rear tail and replaced it with two rubber pieces here that latch and hold the tail down. And then we have the signature Carrera RS ducktail. This is from afar how you can see an RS over any other car of the era. Porsche is letting everyone know that, hey, we've changed the engine a little bit. We've got a 2.7 liter instead of a 2.4 liter. Again, not a lot, but 20 horsepower. On the outside, we've got thin glass, thin glass, thin glass, thin glass, thin glass. Everywhere thin glass. What's the goal? It's to make it lighter and lighter and lighter. So let's step inside the lightweight. And what you find is Porsche continued to try to reduce weight. So instead of a standard door panel with a mat pocket here, Porsche did a straight panel. They got rid of the handle and put a little plastic handle on it. And instead of a plastic handle to open the door, they changed it out to a leather strap. Wind down windows. We've got lightweight bucket seats that were racing style seats. We've gotten rid of the heavy, quote unquote, carpeting, and we have lightweight carpeting. We have plastic mats for floor mats. We've got the classic smaller diameter steering wheel. And then Porsche went so far as to get rid of the clock, because why do you need to tell time if you're going that fast? And then the cover for the glove box. Porsche actually deleted the rear seats. And so we've got nothing back there except for carpeting. More and more and more light. Less weight. More and more less weight. So then let's step inside sort of the heart of the Carrera RS, and that is the engine bay. These ducktails were all fiberglass, and with the first series cars and into the second series, they had an aluminum frame instead of steel because of weight. You'll recognize the standard boxer engine. This is a 2.7 mechanically fuel-injected six-cylinder, and again, as we said in the past, puts out 210 horsepower. Finally, let's take a look up front, and you'll see what Porsche did to continue to save weight. First of all, they have that lightweight hood that I talked about. So this is thin steel. But up front, we've got lighter weight carpeting. We've got our standard toolkit. But for the first time, we see the advent of a plastic fuel tank for a street car. Again, this is to save weight. And then instead of the full-size spare, Porsche used a collapsible, smaller size spare. For the first series cars, and very, very rare, they included a compressed air bottle to inflate the spare. So that's number 232, a first series car that in 1986 won the Manhattan Coveted Trophy Award. The RS is just visceral. That lightness pervades the car. You know, the way that the car can dance around the street and what it does. That 2.7 liter engine just has a smoother, higher torque curve. You have that rush of horsepower run from just over 4,000 to the red line at 72. It's taking the 911S of the era and just making it that much better. I mean, in 1973, this car is going 0 to 60 in 5.5 seconds. That's astounding. You know, I mean, does it do circles around the 911S? No. But in every way, that loss of weight, the aerodynamics, the playfulness of the car, the responsiveness of the car, in every way, it's that much better. There's not a single area where the Carrera RS is inferior. After it leaves us, 232 is going to head to Texas, and the new owner drives his cars. So this car is going to be out and about. It's not going to just be a garage queen back and forth to Cars and Coffee. He may use it on spirited rallies. I don't think he's going to driver's ed it in any way, but he's definitely going to enjoy and drive the car.